Hi and welcome to Alien's Reading Life. I'm Alien and I will be doing the Finally Fall book tag today. It's the 15th of September, so it's the beginning of fall. The first question is, in the fall, the air is crisp and clean, a book with a vivid setting. For that I'm choosing Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. It's set in the Dominican Republic and in New York, and both places were really vivid. I could picture everything, and I love that book. I gave it 5 stars this year when I read it. And it's about these two half sisters that don't know about each other, but their father is on a plane to the Dominican Republic, and he is in a plane crash and dies. And then when he dies, they found out about each other, and it's about them dealing with their grief. And it's really heartbreaking, that book, but it was really good, and the setting was very vivid. So I recommend that. And the audiobook is narrated by Elizabeth Acevedo, and it's a story written in verse as well. I love her voice, like as an audiobook narrator, and the book was excellent. Then the second question is, nature is beautiful but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. For that I chose King and the Dragonflies by Kacen Callender. The main character, King, is dealing with grief because his brother just died. And I thought the book was written beautifully by Kacen Callender, and the audiobook narrator was perfect for it as well. I gave it 4 stars. It's a really great middle grade book about grief, and also like hope and finding new friends and figuring out your sexuality, and it was just amazing. And I loved the writing style. I love Kacen Callender's writing style. I've read King and the Dragonflies, and also I've read Felix Ever After, and the writing style in both of them are really great. And in King and the Dragonflies, King believes that his brother has turned into a dragonfly, so that's where the title comes from. And I thought it's really beautifully written, and it deals with a heavy topic, grief, so it fit perfectly for that question. Then we have back to school season, name a non-fiction book that taught you something. I don't read a lot of non-fiction, but I chose Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank, which is of course about the Holocaust. It's Anne Frank's diary when she was hiding from the Nazis, and it's really heartbreaking to know what it's like to be a Jewish during World War II and hiding from Nazis. You can never know what that's like, but it kind of gives you a little bit of an insight into what it was like for her. And it's heartbreaking, but it did teach me something. And I read that in like middle school, I think, or in high school. It was a long time ago, but I still remember it very well. It really stuck with me. But I will be reading Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Renee Edo Lodge soon. I have it from the library. I can go and get it. I haven't started it yet, so I can't choose that one, but maybe if I made this video after I've read that, I would have picked that one instead. I have the Swedish copy, varför jag inte längre pratar med vita om ras. But yeah, and this is about racism. So yeah, that might have been my answer if I chose to do this tag later, but right now I haven't read it, so I can't choose it. Then we have, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people we love. Name a fictional family / household / friend group that you love. and I chose Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. I love that friend group with Matthew. We have James. We have, what are they called? Cordelia. Also, we have Christopher and Lucy. And also Anna is there, but yeah, I love that friend group. They are really great. They're so close, and I love when friend groups are really close to each other. And that book was really great. I gave it like 4 or 4.5 stars, so it wasn't like a new favorite, but my favorite part of the book was definitely the friend group. So that was the book that came to mind for this question. I could have chosen another book that I read this year, Dress Codes from Small Towns by Connie Stevens. This I actually gave 5 stars. This has like a hexagon. Not a love triangle, but a love hexagon. So this friend group is more like people are in love with each other. There is a little bit of that in Chain of Gold, but not like everyone is kind of in love with each other. But yeah, this has a great friend group as well. I give it 5 stars, so I recommend it. And Chain of Gold is of course in the Shadowhunter universe. Shadowhunter Chronicles. So it's about demons, fighting demons, and stuff like that. And this book is about, her name is Billy McCaffrey. She is the priest's daughter, and she is not religious, and she has this friend group. So her best guy friend Woods and her best girlfriend Janie Lee, they start falling for each other, but she's kind of in love with both of them. So yeah, and they're trying to save this festival that is in town, and yeah, it's really cute. Then we have the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall-colored spines. I have prepared this. Okay, right here. We have Dust by Hugh Howey, which is the 3rd book in the Silo series. Then we have The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis, which is a part of the Narnia books. Then we have I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman, Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becca Albertalli, Wildfire by Anne Cleves, and Battle of the Percy Jackson and the Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan. So I thought this was fall colors. Then the 6th question is, fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book where someone is telling a story. And I chose The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket. The whole book is kind of narrated by Lemony Snicket, so it's like Lemony Snicket, it's telling the story to you. And he kind of talks directly to the reader at times, like on the back of the books it says that you shouldn't pick up this book, it's really gonna make you miserable, don't read it, and stuff. So it's kind of breaking the 3rd wall, I think it's called, where the author is talking to the reader. So it's basically Lemony Snicket, which is actually a pseudonym for Daniel Handler. So The Bad Beginning is which is the 1st book in the series of Unfortunate Events series. I read all of them and I really enjoyed them. They are middle grade books about these 3 orphans, because the 1st chapter their parents are killed in a fire. And it's about them being shipped off to different a bad guardian after bad guardian, and it's just a mess. But yeah, they go on different adventures in the books. I think there's 13 books. So it's a very long series, but it goes by quickly since they're middle grade. And I thought it was a really great series. Then we have The Nights Are Getting Darker. Share a dark, creepy read. For that, I'm choosing Middle Game by Sean McGuire, which happens to be my favorite standalone book of all time, actually. And it was my favorite book I read last year. And it's really dark. There's a lot of blood, violence, death. People are getting murdered, like it's dark. It's about these two twins that at the beginning don't know that they're twins. One of them is really great at, like, it's Roger and Dodger. Dodger is a girl and she is great at math and chess and everything to do with numbers. Then we have Roger, who is great at language and words. So they're kind of opposites to each other and they can talk through their minds. So they're telepathically linked. And they were actually created in a lab by this guy who wants to ascend them to God. Godhood, godness. He wants them to be gods so that he can also be a god. And they are, when they're small, they're separated. And they live on different sides of the US. So they are separated and then they find each other again, and it's just their story going through life, and it's just my favorite thing ever. I love it so much, and it's told really in a very specific way. There's a book inside a book, and that book is actually coming out this year, Over the Garden Wall by Deborah Parker, but it's actually Sean McGuire. But yeah, so the story inside the story is getting published. So that's in there. And also it's told like 300 days until the world ends and stuff. It's kind of always telling you how much time you have until the world ends. It's amazing. Like the storytelling, the way that the book is set up. It's kind of at the beginning you're kind of like knowing what's going to happen just before the world ends, and then you go backwards, and it's just amazing, and it's really dark. So, and it's creepy, not in the way that like a horror book would be creepy. It's kind of more like, is someone gonna get killed right now? I don't even know what genre this book is. It's like dark fantasy. Urban, it's kind of more like urban fantasy, but it's also got some like horror elements, I guess. And well, I don't know what genre it is, but it's just amazing. And if you like her Sean McGuire's other series, the Wayward Children series, I think you're gonna love this, because if you like her writing style, well, you're probably gonna like this book. And yeah, I love that book. I could go on and on. It's gonna creep you out, I guess, because of some of the characters that are really freaky and scary. Just right out scary. Then we have the 8th question. The days are getting colder. Name a short but heartwarming read. This was really easy to answer. That's definitely Heartstopper Volume 1 by Alice Oseman. Basically the whole series. There's three volumes out right now, and they're all heartwarming. It's about Nick and Charlie and their romance. And them going to school. Charlie is gay and Nick is trying to figure out his sexuality, and he's bisexual because and he falls for Charlie. They fall for each other, they become boyfriends, and it's the cutest romance ever in the history of romance. Like, oh my god. And the Alice Oseman's art style is the cutest thing you've ever seen. Like, oh my god, I love it. I have given all 3 volumes 5 stars, and you can actually read it for free online on the Tapas website. So I recommend that. You don't even have to spend money to read something that cute. Like, you have nothing to lose. So yeah, that's definitely heartwarming. it's very like a light book. It has some darker themes, but it's mostly just heartwarming and light. Then we have Fall returns every year. Name an old favorite book that you like to return to soon. And for that, I have Wool or Ull by Hugh Howey. I read this in 2015, I think, and I can barely remember it. So I have to reread it in order to read the next two books in the series. To read Shift and then Dust, that was in my fall college spine. So they don't match, which is bothering me, but yeah. I have to reread this to read these two. And this is a dystopian book where the outside air is toxic and radioactive, so you can't be outside. So the whole humanity is living in this one silo, which is underground, and basically it's full of rules and limitations, secrets and lies. To survive, you have to follow the rules, but not everyone does. There are some people to dare, hope, and dream, whose joy is spreading. Their punishment is easy. They are allowed to leave the silo. What I remember from it is that I gave it 5 stars and loved it, but it's been 5 years since I read it, so I just remember some parts of it. I remember there was a lot of going upstairs because it's a really tall silo, so there's a lot of stairs. And based on like where you live in the silo, if you're living on the bottom floor or like closer to the bottom, you're thought of as a lesser person. You don't have as much like status in the society, and your job is probably not a good paying job and stuff. So there was a lot of going through the stairs, and I just remember loving the book. And it's really, even though it's all taking place in like this one silo, it's still really, really intriguing. And I can't wait to reread it this year. So I can, because I never I was waiting for the second book, Shift, to be translated to Swedish so I can have them match, to have like both of them in Swedish editions, but I don't think it has gotten a translation that I know of. So I bought it in paperback because that was what was available at the bookstore. I could have ordered it in hardcover, but I wanted to buy it in store so they don't match. But yeah, that was why I never continued with the series. But I will this year. I'm determined to read. First we read Wool, then read Shift, and then read Dust. So I have read the entire trilogy. So that is my reread a favorite. I hope it's still a favorite because I bought the other books in the series. It would be such a flop if I didn't like Wool anymore. Oh my god, I hope I do. Hope I didn't jinx it there, but I'm sure I will love it. I just remember absolutely adoring it when I read it, so I'm positive that I will this time around as well. Then fall, the last question is, fall is the perfect time for a cozy read. Share your fave reading accessory. Usually I don't really have reading accessories, but I wrote down hot chocolate and a hoodie. So yeah, and also I forgot to add one thing. Candles. This is my candle and it's vanilla scented. I want to get a woodwick candle because that would be the perfect thing, but the woodwick candles where I live are really, really expensive. So I might have to order one because this candle is kind of close to running out as well. But yeah, candles, hot chocolate, or coffee, but hot chocolate is cozier to me than coffee, and a hoodie or a blanket. That's my reading accessories, but usually I don't drink or eat anything when I'm reading. I just read. Put on the notification bell if you want to see more of my channel and know when I upload. I will post it on Instagram, of course, but if you want to know. sooner, you can press that bell, and I will put my links in the description for all my social media, but I'm on most social medias I'm just Elin's Reading Life to make it easy. Answers to these questions, and if you make this video, I will love if you put it down here so I can watch it. And yeah, thanks for watching, like and subscribe like I said, and yeah, hope you have a really cozy fall. I know I will try to, even though the world is going to shit. Bye!